Hey everyone, I'm Mont 27p. For many, this video may come as a surprise, but bear with me. I have quite a few things to discuss and will go roughly in order from past to present and future. I encourage everyone to watch through everything for full context, however I will leave timestamps in the description below for different topics. Please keep in mind that a lot of this is a discussion of hypotheticals and heavily relies on help from all of you. Let's get into it. So, where has Songs of War been? For those who haven't been in the community much or are new fans, I'll cover the basics. On June 14th, 2020, Songs of War was cancelled by its previous director and the original crew. The main reasons given were its lack of views and profit, plus desire for a career change. At that time, the series had barely crossed 4.6 million views, with the episodes trailing off massively, barely managing to reach even 1 million for each part. When factoring in many years of work, yes, multiple years across many people, it failed at that time to make enough profit to warrant spending the risk of another couple years on season 2 and 3. Animation is both very expensive and very time consuming. YouTube pays us a lot less than you probably think. By the time the full movie saw massive growth, all the original team had moved on. Traditionally, other directors have also never really continued someone else's project. All the files, including the script for season 2 and 3, were given out publicly, and that's where it all ended. Other options I believe were explored, but ultimately no one else on the team had anywhere near the income or interest in the project to continue it. It was just not possible once the old team stopped. I will link a re-upload of the old Cancellation video in the description for anyone who'd like further details. The original no longer exists. Why make this video then? Well, back in 2021, after the cancellation sometime, I recall asking whether I could do things in the Songs of War universe. The answer I got back from the original crew was yes. All the way up until the rebrand in early 2023, I'd always kept that in the back of my mind as I kept improving my own animations, learning and trying to build up a stable income of my own. I was still the newest director on the team until Michael and Zillion joined late 2022. I was nowhere near where I needed to be to take on such a project at the time. That was up until the rebrand hit in 2023. Now, I'm not going to dive into most of that, but those around the community at the time know it was a pretty depressing period. There was a point where all of Black Plasma could have been deleted. We were in danger of losing our jobs. That's not even a joke. That didn't happen, thankfully, but it took away from my personal motivation to do anything with Songs of War, and I honestly assumed I lost permission with all the original Songs of War team leaving. And for years, that was it. We'd always say it's never coming back every time it was asked. Just a straight up no, never, move on. Multiple announcements, community posts, random messages on Discord. No matter how long the question followed us, that was always the answer. So what's changed now? Well, it probably started with me slowly gaining back some of that interest early this year. Seeing the community still passionately making it the top 2 most discussed projects on the channel all these years later. Seeing people still asking to this day, where's Songs of War? Seeing the countless fan arts and people straight up making whole episodes in their own time. Besides the odd aggressive or rude comment here or there, it's all helped me get back some of my own personal interest in wanting to do something. So, I poked Matt, the new CEO, earlier this year. Hey, in theory, if we got permission, could I do things in the universe? I said in a more technical and business-like manner. Matt did not oppose. So slow and steadily, we were able to eventually regain permission from the old team to do as we please with Songs of War. And that's great news that can lead to a couple things. The big thing that I'm excited to announce is that standalone spin-offs are confirmed. Since we have free roam to do as we please, I personally plan on making one or even a couple single episode stories. These would be in the 10 to 20 minute range, similar to our other animations. This means production would be cheaper since I do most of the work myself, and requires less time to produce. This way I can still take my time and really put a good foot forward and make something really high quality without needing to worry too much about how expensive it gets. I can cover these spin-offs with my own income, so no extra funding needed. These of course would be based in the Songs of War universe to expand on elements that aren't explored as much in season 2 and 3. I'm not going to go into detail for now, but the first idea being thrown around at the moment is making an animation expanding upon the Great War and the surrounding events in the prologue. There's a lot of opportunity for world building and growth there. but also gives the audience a lot of familiar elements to get reacquainted with. And it's a great way to bring back Carl G. Brooks as Thalius as a fan favourite. Maybe I'll explore some more niche and original concepts in a future spin-off, but for now the first animation needs to get the ball rolling. I have to play it smart and get people invested back into this world first. Production starts on that first standalone animation at the beginning of next year, aiming for the middle-ish of next year for release. This will hopefully provide a gauge to see if the wider audience even still want Songs of War, which I know all of you here do. In terms of style, I'm hoping to keep something pretty similar to the old style, but I will absolutely be pushing for a much more polished cinematic look, somewhere between my more serious style that I use for projects like Technoblade Never Dies and the old Songs of War style. Other styles that myself and a few other directors have done recently, like my more cartoony Trial Chambers animation and the recent Alex and Steve's, of course do not fit Songs of War. The weight and tone of this series will be preserved. Welcome back for those that skipped half the video. Yes, get called out. Now onto the famed question. Where's Songs of War Season 2? The great news is that Season 2 and 3 are no longer cancelled, and instead in a lack of funding state. This means that in theory, if we are able to acquire sufficient funding in the future, we would be able to make Season 2 and 3. If you've watched all the way up until this point, you'd know we still lack the income we'd need to be able to tackle such a large project. None of us earn anywhere close to what the original team did that made Season 1 possible in the first place, which is a harsh reality. So, if Season 2 and 3 were ever going to happen, we're going to need a lot of help from you guys to help fund it. There's a lot of discussion that needs to be had in terms of calculating how much we would need to raise for Season 2, so I won't be sharing any final details today. We plan on creating a fundraiser among other means to get there. We're likely talking in the low to mid 6-digit number range. The placeholder that I announced on Discord earlier this year will probably get a lot smaller, so don't use that as reference anymore for those that saw that. The fundraiser may not be for a while though. It will likely drop at the same time my first spin-off releases sometime next year. As much as I personally would love to start funding now, we'll probably do the bulk of the funding after we have something new to show for it. In my mind that makes sense. It has been over 4 years and I didn't make the first season, so I don't have work to show for. I'd like to prove myself first before asking people to raise such a large amount of money. Whenever we do set that up, there will be announcements made about it regardless of if that remains the case or if we do it sooner. Do keep your eyes on this channel, our community channel, Squared Community, alongside our Discord and community posts on Squared Media. These are the main places you can find updates as they come, so if you don't see a new update in any of those places, there's nothing to share yet. Worth a mention as well, while you can support Squared Media as a whole through our Patreon, that does not go towards Songs of War. I would encourage waiting for the fundraiser in the future if you want to help fund Season 2 specifically. For now, the main way to support is by just sharing this video around and discussing within the community. Now, I cannot exaggerate this enough. If we are unable to reach the funding we need, Season 2 and 3 will not be happening. While the chance is no longer 0%, it is currently unlikely. You can be sure we'll give it the best chance it deserves to get there, but be prepared for a reality where it may never happen. If Season 2 and 3 funding is successful, the old script will be going through a pretty decent rewrite. The old script for Season 2 and 3 was never complete. Those in the community also know how vocal some people are about a lot of its flaws. I have zero clue what will change, because that's a discussion for another day. But for those with writing concerns of the old script, or not seeing a reason to even make Season 2 and 3 with the script being public, despite book adaptations being a thing, rest assured there will be changes. The other big thing is with all the old team gone and no longer associated with the channel, most Songs of War things going forward will be directed and handled by myself. However, I'm hoping to get back a lot of the old voice actors, musicians, animators to get a nice mix of old and new. There's still a lot of people I'd like to contact. For anyone who worked on Season 1 who's watching this and is super excited, by all means reach out. I'm excited to hopefully work with you all. Applications would also open for new opportunities, but again, that's a problem for future me if funding is successful. but I assure even with new people, we'll be putting our hearts into it. Again, I cannot exaggerate it enough. There is a very high chance that we'll never get to where we need to make Season 2 happen. But your persistence could still pay itself off. We shall see in due time, though. As we're kind of closing things out, to be honest, I'm personally more interested in doing these standalones. I do have concerns about maintaining motivation over really long periods on one project, so Season 2, while I'm happy to lead if it happens, is definitely a daunting task. Whereas standalones are a nice in-between that don't take too long, meaning I can fully commit myself. But regardless, I'm excited to get into them soon, and hopefully, Season 2 later down the line. For now, however, I want to say thanks to all those that have made it to the end. It feels weird even for me to be saying half of this stuff after all these years, and I hope most of this, even if low chances, is exciting news. I know Songs of War means so much to a lot of you, and I will be doing my best both in the standalones and trying to make Season 2 and 3 happen. Again, I cannot say this enough, please do not get your hopes up just yet for Season 2. All of us at Squared Media will be trying our best though. Now is also a good time for full clarification for anyone new. I played no part in making the first season, besides being a cheeky Redstone patron. I got offered to be an animator for the series when I applied as director back in 2020, but I decided to pursue becoming my own director. However, I absolutely love the series and still remains one of my personal favourites. So while it may sound like doomed to have completely new people take over the project, it's in my best interest to do my best work for you guys, especially being as loved as it is. Also, no one else is going to do anything with it, so either nothing forever or you're stuck with me. Jokes aside, I think that's most of what I wanted to share today. It's been nice to break the ice after so long of silence, mostly just keeping to myself for years, not being able to do much with it. Please do keep in mind that not much is happening with this for the rest of this year, so please still be respectful as we have other commitments to attend to. If anyone has any questions, however, I'm happy to discuss where I can. I would highly recommend joining our Discord for further conversation. Usually people receive updates in the Songs of War info channel before anybody else. If you'd like to join in on casual discussions where I also show up from time to time, there's also the Songs of War thread under animation discussion. Come join. Again, thank you for those that stuck around till the end. If someone asks a question answered in here, send them this video please, I ain't repeating. I'll update you all when there's an update to be made, but until then, bye bye! I personally plan on making one or even a couple single... Welcome back for those that skipped off the video. Yes, get called out.